We're going to move on now to our next guest speaker. Our next speaker is Naseem. Naseem is joining us to talk about the success of plastic-free Ramadan. Naseem founded the Projects Against Plastic, as well as the Plastic-Free Ramadan initiative, which has recently held a workshop in the House of Lords. Naseem is really passionate about reducing single-use plastics, and he's kindly agreed to come and join us today and talk about some of the successes of this project. So yeah, thank you very much for joining us.
Good afternoon. How's everyone doing? Okay? Very good. So, can speak, yeah? Yes, fine. My name is Naseem Kandran. I'm originally, my family is from Bangladesh, migrated in the 60s. My grandparents was in the Second World War, and then my father started business in Bath City, then we moved to Bristol. As a background, I graduated from the University of West Virginia in Bristol, and then I kind of worked most of my life in IT-based companies. But yeah. And then my life changed in 2015 when I was walking through Bristol City Centre, and suddenly I started noticing the amount of pollution and the amount of waste, food waste, and other products across the beach, across the border, near the work path everywhere. And then I thought, that just doesn't feel right. You know, it just thought at that time that I might have to do something about it. And coming fast forward from that moment in 2015, 2018, where I take the initiative to set up a charity called Projects Against Plastic. We wanted to kind of do something around that space in a very small and a very low resource-based activity. Because my parents used to own an Indian restaurant, and I come from a place where there's a lot of restaurants, a lot of foods, a lot of waste, a lot of packaging. I thought that might be my kind of, way to penetrate that industry and see if there's something I can do to help make the reduction of single-use plastic. And alongside that, I realized there's a huge part of the community, especially the ethnic minority community. They are often bystanders, and often they don't know where they stand in this fight, so they never part of the bigger picture. How do I make them feel like it's part of their fight as well, and they can play equally a very valuable role, like whatever the communities are doing. So that led to me purchasing plastic, carrying on the mission to find ways to reduce plastic. Today, I'm going to talk about 3 things that we do, and then share some of the things I've been doing, and then we can do a discussion. I don't want to drag this too long. Obviously, to the Q&A session, I can probably explain better. So if we move on to the next slide, you're down? Yeah. Yeah. To work with the businesses, with local takeaways and restaurants, we started a awareness program called Curry Conversation. One thing we noticed that usually restaurants and takeaway owners are not very interested to talk about plastic. They don't want to see another problem. They're already stressed over, staffing issues, skill issues, health visitors, taxman, and everything else, rent, rate. The last thing they want to kind of talk to me about another problem with plastic that they have to kind of worry about and think about. So we didn't want to go gun blazing. We wanted to have just a conversation, just make them aware of the impact that we can have within the environment, within the community, within the individual. So we started a very mellow-based conversation called Curry Conversation, where we invite them for a curry, and then have a conversation based on what kind of things are happening, how they can be part of that, and what advantage they can have as a business being part of that and being a leading member in the green sector, and how they can utilize this opportunity to their customers, and how the customers feel about that. So just give them a bit more kind of wider concept of what is happening in other industries, as well as why they need to be a bit more leader and take a bit more responsibility on that. And the second is plastic free Ramadan, and so we're going to that as well. And the last one, which was very exciting to see this morning, Kids Against Plastic. I love that name. Obviously, I'm precious against plastic. So we do a lot of the youth engagement, and absolutely right by Amy and other people. Our youth is our key, and they want the one we need to invest more. So youth engagement is another sector I'm going to quickly talk about. Okay. So I think it's better. Can we play that link? That easier? Sorry. Right. We'll start the video. Let's go.
Good week, 800, bad week, 600. So it comes down to 750 roughly.
What really looked into this industry to see what kind of innovations that we can bring. And obviously, plastic being the cheapest and the most available product, they always go for that. We are failing our next generation. I think some way we should be part of the solution.
Thank you for supporting me as well.
My dad uses a lot of plastic a year. I thought if he watched it, maybe he could make a change. It's a struggle. He's used it for a very long time.
It's like bulletins. I think they should bring it.
We haven't come across, not the crazy, you said again, any alternative. We looked at tipping, which just cost about 12, 15 pounds a set, but then the customer would bring that back. And that would be a big investment for every restaurant on that. You give away a free ticket and then they may not come back.
I think this is just a start, just a part of the conversation. So we find a solution that not really only replaces the plastic, but embeds the whole system of the process. So the whole process is plastic, we're not dependent on plastic, and we bring a solution that benefits the business and then also save the planet. It's a great program. So as you can see, we kind of visited over close to about 100 restaurants and takeaways, and we've done 6 roadshows across the UK with the businesses, and we have helped for them to kind of think about what alternatives out there. We have some success stories, but unfortunately, the biggest challenge is still out there. Plastic is an amazing product. I mean, it does everything you need to do for a food business, especially hospitality, because especially we're talking about curry, which is very liquid based, hot based. There's less ideas of cross contamination, especially during the pandemic. Just the whole thing just went spiked up a lot. So finding a product that can replace plastic is still huge. But we are looking into other areas and systems, especially with deposit schemes and other schemes, which eventually could help reduction. But we also like to acknowledge that part of the work that we influence. Obviously, there is a legislation now by UK government in 2023, I believe, where they're now kind of helping ban plastic, single-use plastic in the hospitality sector. I mean, there's some question marks around the legislation, but still, we welcome that approach. And still, the enforcement has not been done yet, but I think businesses slowly are now forced to think alternatives, and we can see a slight change of the conversation and the trouble that we're having with the business. That's one aspect of the work that we're doing, purchasing plastic. The second one is I work with a lot of the ethnic minority communities, especially Muslim communities, where we feel like they don't really standing firmly enough against plastic pollution. So one of the campaigns I do every year with our in partnership with House of Lords is Plastic Free Ramadan. During the month of Ramadan, the Muslim mosques, they use quite a lot of feast when they break their fasting. So we're trying to educate the mosque to see if they can be able to kind of help using less plastic and more sustainable product. In the same time, what they can become is a community hub for their local areas where they can relay those informations of sustainability and also kind of help the corporations to understand a better way of recycling and educating them in terms of how to manage the waste better. Mosque is a very traditional element of our society and they don't like changes. They hate changes, they don't like, outside people telling them what to do. So it's one of those very challenging environments for me, and I'm really pleased that we have around at least 120 mosques across UK signed up to the program, and we are kind of trying very slowly to educate them and empower them to ability to lead the changes. And one of the biggest feedback, the benefit that we receive, if we go to the next, these are free programs that one of the benefits they received that they've been trying to engage with the younger generation quite a lot, and every other institute I've been, the faith-based institutes. Through this plastic pollution, through this conversation, they felt like they could actually engage with the youth a lot more better and have more communications, and now they feel like they're more engaged with their communities, while usually they were left out for a number of years. So it's a great benefit and advantage more to talk about in actual single-use plastic, and that's what we've been finding. We have a very simple four-step solution for the most. These are some pictures that I'm sharing that I haven't put yet. So these are 1, 2, 3, 4 steps. Very simple play that we send out these resources to all the mosques, or they can download it from our resource centers. And we have received some really good feedback, as well as further challenges, of course. So the work is continuing on. We are hoping to do our plastic-free Ramadan in the month of February 2026. So if anybody's interested to join and support us, please let us know. We'll fully collaborate the way forward. And the last thing I want to quickly talk about youth engagement. So we work with Bristol City Council, we work with North Somerset City Council, Bath and North City Somerset Council. We try to kind of get involved in their schooling programs and see if there's any space and opportunity where we can kind of do a bit of workshop with the young people. We found amazing. I mean, every time I do one of those programs, I learn so much from the young people themselves. But they ask really, really brilliant questions, and I'm really like, this is one of the very, I guess, very satisfying part of the role that meeting the young people and really supporting this. So a small video as well, if we can see if we can do that later. They might be a few years old, but I still really love this. It was the only thing that we captured. My name is Naseem Taludar. Plastic Pollution Awareness and Action Projects was created to tackle the single use of plastic within the catering community. We really believe young people has the solution to the plastic mess that we're leaving behind. So we try to share all the problems that we face in sharing all the challenges. So we are empowering them the ability to lead the solution, the change that is needed to solve this problem. Even though they're 20% of the population, they're definitely 100% of our future. Do one thing at a time, make one change today, and make that one change count. So together, we can overcome this plastic pollution challenge. I think that's kind of an overview of what the work and what kind of things I'm involved with as part of Purchase Against Plastic. I think, let's discuss any issues or anything that you'd like to ask.
The singing holidays was very regular recently, and one evening we sang at St James's Priory, this Compline, and then we had a meal quite close by. Then I had to walk up to the Hotel Bristol near the river, and I was horrified going onto rubbish there. Because I think Bristol's got lots of side parks, and it's a lovely city. I was impressed by a lot of it, but this litter bin, which seems to be everywhere.
Absolutely, I mean. Yeah, absolutely, I mean, it is a challenge, and still an ongoing challenge, but. We are seeing some changes in the people's behavior, we have to be positive. There's still a lot of work needs to be done, and the council is trying their best to do it. There's a lot of charities like City to Sea is one of the biggest charity, and I know they have mentored me quite a lot in my earlier days. Saturdays and Sways also doing a lot of good work around Western Sydney and other coastal side. Changes are slow, they cannot be seen, but I think when I visit the young people, they're much more aware of it, they're much more, better at this. Unfortunately, our generation failed in that sense.
But it's the same in Nottingham and even in Birmingham and today coming here. It's the same everywhere. But, we're all working.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. I acknowledge the challenge, and I know it almost feels like at times it's impossible, but we will make it possible.
Brilliant. Thank you very much for your presentation this evening. It was really, really interesting. I think a common theme for a lot of the guest speakers that have come today has been around kind of young people being a part of that journey to bring about positive eco change. I don't know how many questions we've got time for. Greg, we've got time for. We've got maybe one or two. Perhaps one or two. Okay. Any questions for Nassim, folks? Yeah.
Nassim, I was wondering if you could let us know your biggest win. I know over all the years you've been campaigning with mosques and takeaways. What's been your biggest success in plastic reduction?
I think measuring success is been very difficult. I think most would have been plastic free Ramadan campaign last year when we had over 120 mosques signed up for it. I think that is probably quite a bit of a surprise, because when I started this journey 3 years ago, plastic free Ramadan campaign, to get a conversation going for one mosque in Bristol, we were having a 6 hours meeting. I mean, that's the level of kind of, distracted conversation they had to go through to get to a message across. And at that stage, I thought, you know what, I can't do this. I mean, if you just have a conversation with someone on the topic that, should be 10, 15 minutes, it took me 6 hours to get through to someone to actually explain what it involved. I can't, there's about over 500 boss. I can't physically, mentally do this. So we need to change the game, we need to change the strategies. So how do we, instead of us going to the mosque, how do we make that situation, create that situation where mosque supposed to come to us and, have a bit more like this bottom-up approach or top-down approach, but they want to be part of the campaign rather than we want to push them for it. Because one thing I realized, when we push someone, they only feel like it's more benefit for us, not yours. But when they come to you, they feel like it's benefit for them, and less to us. So that's why I had to get the House of Lords in. One thing I noticed, the most people who runs the most people, obviously they are, they're older generation. They like being acknowledged. They like being, kind of acknowledge their contribution at the head of the community and the society. So that's one of the reasons I do the House of Lords law. So when they invite those from House of Lords, then everybody wants to come and join. And they want to be part of it, they want to be recognized by one of the esteemed organizations as doing their good part. And part of that to sign up is you have to have certain commitments as a plastic coalition and certain things you do. I think that worked really well. So in that sense, I'd say that would be one of my biggest wins. That by changing a small strategy, I managed to save that 6 hours long of conversation and kind of invited them into it, and then have a workshop. So yeah, I think that would be, I would say, the minimum investment, maximum impact.
Brilliant. Thank you for that question and your response as well, Messi. I think that recognition, and giving that praise where it's due definitely helps to encourage, motivate people to make change.
Yeah, a lot of businesses and organizations and communities, they feel like, they don't get recognized enough for even a small bit. I think and I'm troubled with the very same things. When I started doing things, the more I could recognize and felt like the more I have to do, I have to take a responsibility because people are looking at me and they're expecting me to take this little bit further. And that really pushed me up where I was. So I do, understand. But I think this gentleman would say.
Brilliant. Here we go.
I was just, I think you mentioned it in the catering work you did. You found a solution, but you didn't. What was it? Did you find a sort of a non-plastic solution or a sort of reusable plastic system you were using?
Are we talking about plastic in Ramadan or
So the current
carrying
plastic,
conversation? Solution for the curry-based plastic container, when I realized that this is kind of going to, right in the technical details. The amount of plastic that I use in the takeaway restaurant is far more greater than what we can see as a consumer. What we see is a carry bag and containers. But when I actually open the kitchen, and everything that they come back, from rice, powder, everything comes in a plastic. Every other base is in plastic. The amount of rubbish that plus contamination they do there, the waste. It was just eye-opening for me. And when we're just thinking about how to kind of reduce the containers and the bags. There's two, I guess, a temporary solution that we can come up with, and we're working with a lot of takeaways, and we feel like it's actually creating a positive thing. One is there isn't anything against the alternative plastic they have, but what they can do is, you might see this in some of the takeaways coming up soon. They can have almost like a sticker on every plastic container, just reminding the consumer this can be reused, and your nearest recycling center is there. So it's almost like an information when they pack. So it's almost like sending the ownership back to the customers. We use the plastic, now it's up to you to make sure this gets disposed accordingly and properly or reused as you later. Another thing is this, we run a small, almost like a survey type poll with the customers, one of the businesses in Bristol, where they keep sending like a salad bag sauce and everything in the sauce. So we asked when they order the customer, do they want this as an item? And surprisingly, 76% of the responses, they don't want all this extra bit of plastic in packaging coming into it. So for that, when they see that feedback and they started giving that option to customers to tick the boxes, like I'm sure a lot of you seen that a lot of times like people can tick boxes, there's no plastic cutleries with their takeaway, especially with Just Eat and Uber Eats. So very similarly, do you want all these bits in plastic next to it? 76% of people doesn't want it. So now business is actually saving money because the price isn't getting cheaper. They're charging the same price, but they're not giving as much plastic as they did before because they thought everybody wanted this extra bits of sauce and salads and other things that would come up with their orders. So and now they're slowly thinking, how else can we make the reduction and make more profit? Because the business, the more profit they do, they're more active and interested to do things. Then obviously they become the lead. And then that's the marketing campaign which benefits it. I mean, it gets a bit more technical into it, but I think slowly they're seeing the benefits into it. But it's very difficult to buy in the initial part.
Making attention to the waste, reducing the waste and increasing the profits.
Yeah, exactly. But you've got to have that initial conversation, and that's where 6 hours, 10 hours, whatever it takes to get there. Is the difficult part, but it's getting better. I think it is getting much better.
Brilliant. Thank you so much for those questions and your responses, Messi.